Good morning, everyone. I'm Sally McDonald. Welcome to our televised debate between the two candidates hoping to win Harris County's top law enforcement position, that of District Attorney. We have incumbent Devin Anderson and challenger Kim Ogg. Thanks so much for being here, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you,
And
Sally.
we are also joined by our Fox 26 Roundup panel. Good morning again to all of you.
Good morning.
This race is the race to watch in Harris County. The winner will oversee the largest DA's office in the state with about 600 employees. On average, 110,000 cases are prosecuted each year. And we want to begin this morning by giving each candidate 90 seconds for opening remarks. And we're going to start with our incumbent, Ms. Anderson.
Thank you. About a year ago, I was appointed by the governor to be the district attorney of Harris County, and I've been doing the job ever since. I began my career at the DA's office in 1992, hired by Johnny Holmes. I became a felony prosecutor and tried over 100 felony jury trials and 7 capital murders, including the railcar killer, which I tried with Mr. Holmes. I then left to go on to the bench, where I was presiding over felony cases, and I volunteered as a drug court judge. After that, I went into private practice until my husband was elected district attorney. I stepped up to take Mike's place because the office means a great deal to me. It's where I met my husband, it's where I had my son Sam and my daughter Bren, and I would like to see the office restored to its rightful place as the best DA's office in the country. The prosecutors are glad that I'm there. I lead from the front. This summer, I prosecuted cop killer Harlem Lewis and got the death penalty for the murders of Jimmy Norman, a Bel Air police officer, and Terry Taylor, a business owner who came to his aid. We're doing some very innovative things at the DA's office in the areas of human trafficking, mental health, drug cases, and I'd like to be able to talk about those hopefully in more detail this morning. Thank you.
Ms. Anderson, thank you. Ms. Ogg, you now have 90 seconds for an opening statement.
I'm Kim Ogg. I'm the Harris County Democratic nominee for District Attorney. I have a strategic plan for making Harris County safer, and I'd like to tell you about it. I'm going to prioritize prosecution of criminal predators, burglars, robbers, rapists. Unfortunately, right now, our priorities appear to be on small-time drug possession cases. $10 million a year is spent prosecuting 12,000 offenders for misdemeanor possession of marijuana. I want to route those people around the jail and directly into community service where they can clean up our bios and waterways and at the same time keep their records clean. And what about offenders who commit their crimes with a pen instead of a gun? I intend to step up prosecution of white-collar criminal fraud because I understand that businesses, owners, employees can be victims too. I will ensure that no one is wrongfully convicted by basing our prosecutions on solid evidence. I will lead the charge to reform our unfair grand jury system and help restore faith by the community in our justice system. I will be an impartial DA who never allows cronyism to enter into my decisions because I believe in justice for all. It's more than just a slogan, it's my promise to you.
Thank you both for those opening remarks. Our Roundup panel is going to be leading our questions this morning. We have our Fox 26 legal analyst, Chris Tridico, our public policy analyst, Jackie Bally, and our news analyst, Mustafa Tamiz. Chris, you're going to start things off with a question for both of our candidates, and a coin flip has determined that Ms. Anderson will go first.
Yes, thank you. In the last session of the legislature, the Michael Morton Act was signed into law, which requires the prosecution to turn over virtually everything they have to the defense. Do both of you support this act, and what should be the sanction for failure to follow it by a prosecutor?
I do agree with the Michael Morton Act, and as a felony prosecutor, it was my policy to turn over everything in my file because I was going to win anyway, and I was going to get significant prison time. We don't cheat to win, and that has been the message that I have told all the prosecutors in the office. We turn over everything. If you fail to turn over Brady, and especially, I think the sanction should be very harsh.
And Ms. Ogg, you have a minute to answer as well.
Unfortunately, our current DA administration does not have a Brady List, meaning a list of officers whose credibility may be challenged by the defense. This is a foundation and a cornerstone of convictions that will last on appeal, convictions that will be upheld. So it is critical in terms of making convictions stick, making sure that we have the right person in jail, to be open to information at all times that would show the innocence of the defendant. If that information comes forward, I pledge to make sure that the defense has it, even if it's after conviction.
Our next question for both of you comes from our panelist, Mustafa Tamiz. You will both have a minute to answer again, and Ms. Ogg, we'll start with you.
Each year, about 13,000 misdemeanor cases are filed. Many defendants sit in jail because they cannot make bond. They lose their jobs and suffer all sorts of consequences before ever even seeing a judge. Do either of you support increasing personal bond monitored by pretrial services office in these cases?
Mustafa, we have a terrible problem right now with too many people in the Harris County Jail who simply can't make bond. It's not supposed to be a tool of oppression. We're simply supposed to guarantee that the defendant will return to court. It's important, therefore, to use the resources of the county. We have a strong pretrial division. They make a risk assessment. I think it's up to the prosecutor to agree when it's appropriate to pretrial bonds. Right now, the office and the lawyers will say they have a policy against it, and yet they can't tie it to public safety. I think it's important that people not be held in jail for monetary reasons because they're too poor to get out, but only in the case where they present a true danger to the community.
So we don't have a policy against pretrial bonds, but we do not urge them. It is the magistrate's decision after an assessment is to decide whether this person is going to show up in court or not. It has to be a systematic procedure that is followed. I have no problem with people who have very little criminal history or nonviolent criminal history being out among the community, continuing their work. I was a defense attorney and I saw that if you do stay in jail, you can lose everything. So I don't have a problem with that, but we have to be very careful to make sure that violent offenders, people who can cause us harm or steal from us, are not out on bond while they wait for trials. I think about 53% of the jail population now are felony defendants charged with very serious crimes waiting for their day in court, and I completely agree with that.
And our third question this morning in this hour comes to us from Jackie Bally, and we're going to start with Ms. Anderson for a response. You both have a minute again to answer.
Yes, Ms. Ogg has been very public with her. She said that there are certain laws and some policies in place that she does not feel comfortable implementing, for instance, trace cases, if elected. What is your opinion about that?
My opinion is that it doesn't matter what the district attorney's opinion is regarding a law. We take an oath, and I've taken that oath, to uphold the laws of the state of Texas, all of them, whether I agree with them or not. You do not want a district attorney who picks and chooses which laws she thinks should be enforced. I will continue to prosecute trace cases as long as they're against the law in the state of Texas. If you have a problem with the law, call your legislature. If the legislature changes the law, I will enforce the changes that they make. But it is not my job to decide which ones to enforce or not.
It is the duty of the DA to use discretion in how we prioritize expenditure of our resources. Right now, we spend millions of dollars jailing low-level drug offenders at the expense of violent criminals. That's got to change. In cases where we've got invisible drugs, where they've swabbed somebody's mouth or there's too little amount of drugs to test, it's my position that's against a defendant's due process rights, and that we have no business taking such cases, especially when we find out often later that the substance that was alleged to be a drug isn't. That's too late. So we're going to stop those cases at the front door, and we're going to focus on violent criminals.
All right, that concludes our first round of questioning, ladies. We're going to take a quick break. Our debate continues in just a few minutes.